Hi, my name is Chris Cioli, and this is Lauren Tobolski, and this is College Deals. Our project has a target audience of college students and businesses, and the main goal is to get college students deals that help them save money and to get businesses to provide deals to the students.
Okay, so our goals for this week was to create a prototype and to do a lot of research on our APIs, remote data storage, and then we also had to create an app idea video and project plans such as create user stories and get repo. And we also had to do time logs and the app definition statement, which consisted of demographics and user personas.
Another thing we did was we had a short week for features this week, and so our big goal was to get all of the authentication working for users and to get new users the ability to create accounts and to get businesses a chance to create an account and associate a business with their account. All right, so this is the video, and what we're going to show you here is a demo of a new business creating an account. So the business clicks on create account and they put in their first name, last name, email address, and password. And then we have a switch at the bottom that indicates that this user is a business owner. And this will allow the user to, once they click the create button, to select their business using the Google Places API and a thing called the Google Place Picker. So we're going to see here. The user selected that they're a business owner, and this takes them directly to the place picker. Now, it initially starts the user out at their closest location. Since this was a simulation, it picked San Francisco, and we're going to pick a business that's maybe a little familiar and even very close to home. So we're going to say that we own Full Sail University, and as we click here, this is going to save, and it's going to take the user directly to the next page. Now, we haven't finished the next page yet, but that is the account creation portion.
Okay.
So my time was spent, my time this week was largely spent in Google Spreadsheets. We worked a lot on setting our goals and requirements. We spent a lot of time doing that. Additionally, I spent a fair amount of time in Xcode and working in the Google Docs, and then additionally on Firebase, helping to get our Firebase spun up and to understand kind of how we were going to do our authentication, structure our data, and that kind of thing. You can see here the breakdown of that time in a little bit more detail. I also spent some time in Atom. We developed a JSON document that was our initial base database structure.
Okay, for my time logs, I spent most of my time on Sketch. I created our prototype for our app. So that's where most of my time was spent, and I also created Google Spreadsheets. We were planning and preparing paperwork, as Chris said, for a project. I feel like most of my time was spent also on creating the Trello, spending time on that too. But the thing that took the least time picking out the colors for our project, which I feel like was really easy because Chris had a couple tricks and tips on that with websites, and usually that's really hard for me when I create prototypes and design stuff like that. And as we get to the next slide, you can see the breakdown of how much time I spent on that. Okay. And here are our get commits. As you can see, we have a few commits. At first, it started off really rough. We had to learn how to work together as a team to merge our commits. And then with a few errors and test trials, we finally got the hang of it.
We did have some struggles at the beginning. I think one of the things that we found was that we needed to be very careful about when we pushed and pulled, and we needed to figure out how to work through merging without a UI. We ended up figuring out a really nice way to get into merges and actually look into see who would put what into different files, and that gave us an opportunity to visually see it and then to talk about it together. I think one of the things we decided was that when we do this, when we merge and when we commit and that kind of thing and push, we're going to do it together while we're there in person so we can both look over each other's shoulder.
So our accomplishments for the week were total required hours met. So we met multiple times outside of class, at the library, just meeting up, working on the projects, prototypes, everything. We feel like we're at a really good spot. We handed all our work in on time. We created the login authentication, like we said. So
We worked through. I think the thing that took for me took the most time was working through the authentication and the Firebase setup. Something that could help that in the future is a little pre-research and kind of testing before I start implementing for sure. And what took the least time for me, I think, was the place picker. But our big accomplishment was getting the database set up and getting the authentication done.
Yeah.
And then we thought we had a pretty good start on our sprints. We may have one of the things we found is that we may have overcommitted a little bit, and that brings us into some of our failures.
Yeah, we just had the repo merging issues at first. Like we said, we couldn't, get a hang of it in the beginning, but then eventually we got it. And then actually, there was one time I had to rewrite a whole entire class because one of the merging issues got messed up. So.
Yeah, we ended up having to re-download a project and work through some of the merging issues by recoding the entire file.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was early on in the process, so it didn't hurt us too terribly bad. Another thing we missed a mark this week in our requirements for sprints that we'd set out. We had a requirement to get business owners a way to edit their business, and we are right there, but just haven't quite gotten over the finish line. We've gotten the screen design, but we haven't gotten everything after authentication. We haven't gotten the user the ability to be pushed into that screen where they can edit all of that content. So we did miss a milestone there.
Yes. Okay. For our next steps, we're gonna work on our edit modes for the user's profile, and like I said, we finished our login authentication, and then we're gonna start on week 2 sprints.
That's going to be a big part of that is going to be allowing businesses to create and edit the deals that they'd like, deals and events that they'd like to have. And we're going to hopefully get ourselves to a point where we can have user interaction with deals and events as well. What we're going to have to shoehorn in there is the addition of the businesses being able to edit their business information, since that's a milestone we missed last week. But other than that, we feel like we're in pretty good shape.
Yes. All right.
So thanks for your time, and let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you.